Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Vasten2. I'm your boy, that tuner guy 86, and today we are going to be building a Western style gate on the west side of the city of Dawnport. Let's go ahead and dig up some materials and let's get to it. Our gate is going to be 30 blocks high by 3 wide by 24 blocks long, so naturally we need to grind up some resources before we start. So let's go ahead and dig it out. So what we see here is the two columns that I've went ahead and pre-built, and we used barrels for those. Now barrels are going to be pretty wood intensive, so you're going to need a lot of logs. But what we're representing here is when we're thinking medieval, we want to do something that looks medieval, right? So we went with the barrels because it represents a huge wooden column that's kind of banded together. Now the real important detail here is making sure that I make the tops high enough that no one's going to be able to see the top, because if you notice in the video that the top of the barrels, they all have fruits or vegetables or wheat or something in them. So I want to make sure that that's not going to be visual whenever you're walking up on these gates. I want it to look big and bold. So we're going to go ahead and attached to these beams, we could go with some type of gold, but that's just too bright, and we're going for kind of a very rustic look. So I want to make this pillar here that we're making the door hangers for look kind of rustic-ish. So it's almost like a bronze, but it's kind of got a little bit of weathering to it, right? So we're going to go ahead and tower up. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and make sure that nobody can see the top of our towers. So what I'm doing right now is with the Vasten2 resource pack, which you can see in the details listed at the bottom of this video, we went ahead and covered the top with iron blocks, so that way nobody can see the top of those barrels whenever they're flying over. So whenever we get into the details, we are going to change that top. So it's not going to stay like that, because that would be very plain, and we want to add a lot of depth to this. Now, in the middle, don't mind the middle too much. That's just a tower that we use to kind of get a little observation and scope out the area a little bit, kind of get a feel for what exactly we want to put here. So, like I said, this is going to be a huge gate, 3 wide, should be able to handle catapults or any type of monsters or enemies that are going to try and embark upon our kingdom. So we're going to make sure that that is nice and strong. The next thing on our agenda is going to be going ahead and adding some door hangers, something that's going to be heavyweight and hold our doors up. So let's go ahead and get into that. And I think we're going to stick with the iron, because it's a metal and it's going to hold on to our doors. It looks good. It's dark, so it looks like it's been under some pretty intensive weather and it's been beat up throughout the years. Now we're going to go ahead and dig out one layer of our barrels and place some iron blocks in here. And I think that's going to look pretty good. It'll look pretty nice. Now, the biggest thing is we have to make it look like it's actually attaching to the door, to this bronze-like pillar that's going to be holding our door up. So we want our main support to be our iron blocks. So we're just going to place one on one side, and then let's do the other. There we go. Now, if you look at the other side, I don't know if you guys can see it, maybe, but we do have some chains. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would you have chains if the iron blocks are holding the doors? Well, if we think about it, if the iron blocks were to fail, OSHA standards, guys, this is a thing, okay? So we got to make sure that if the door was to drop for some reason or another, we have a secondary support system that's going to be able to hold the doors. You'll also notice on the other side, I went ahead and dug one layer of barrels out above and one layer below. And what that's going to do is it's also going to act as like a secondary brace for our iron. So whenever you have a big wooden column beam, you want to add a lot of structural safety and a lot of structural integrity to that. And that's kind of what we're trying to represent here. So we're just going to dig out the side here. Let's see if we can reach it. And there we go. And we're just going to shave that off. And we're going to go to the other side here. Let's go ahead and pop this guy out right here, and there we go. All right, we'll shave that, and we're going to have to work our way around to the other side. But for now, let's go ahead and build this back up to the top of our towers. You can see that I started working on the design on the top of the towers. It's not the same. We added a few more iron blocks, give it kind of a cathedral look-ish. Now, all this down here, we're going to have to fill all this ground in. So that way we make sure that our towers are somewhat level. We want them to kind of sit on the same playing field, right? But first we're going to go ahead and gather up all the barrels that we dropped and go ahead and replace everything back in where it needs to go. Now let's go over to the other side and double check this and make sure we grab any loot that we got there. Go ahead and put these two back, and I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a step back, take a look at it. You can see that we've already altered the tops of our tower, and we need to get some wood beams up here. I'm just not sure what design we want to go with, but we're going to go ahead and play around with it a little bit and see what stuff we can come up with. So through our time lapse, we came up with a few designs. I'm not really sure we're going to use that though. What we're going to actually do is we're going to actually create two actual doors, like actual door shapes, like a door to a bar or a saloon, except like times 1,000. It's going to be huge, okay? So we're going to go up here and we're going to round this top off. Now, of course, this is Minecraft. Everything likes to be square, right? Everything wants to be blocky. Now, if you have problems like I do, and you can't build circles very good, the best site that I've ever found to do that and figure it out is going to be plots.co.uk. That's plots with a Z, PLOTZ.co.uk. And that is free to use. You can go ahead, go online, and I'll go ahead and throw it in the description so that way you guys can link that. But you can make anything rounded off that you could imagine in Minecraft, and it goes very in detail. So that's what I use to help me get kind of the configuration of the door. You can add to, take away, whatever you need to do. But yeah, so we went ahead and built our two big solid wood doors. Now we're going to fill it. So when we fill it, we're going to use cobble, stone, stone brick, and cracked stone brick. So now we're going to go ahead and we're adding depth to our door. You'll notice I already did some of it, but we want to add a little bit of a design on the door to add some depth to it. That'll really make it stick out a lot more. Man, if only Minecraft had something like scaffolding invented. Alright guys, the next step that I'm going to take is I'm going to backfill those two spaces that we cut out with iron bars. We're going to backfill that with iron bars because iron bars, similar to steel bars, which is used commonly, at least in the US, for rebar, it ends up strengthening concrete and blocks, right? So it makes for a purpose in our doors. Now, once we get these installed, I am going to end up coming up with some type of logo or some type of design or something subtle that's going to go in the middle of these bars, just something to blend in with the design a little bit. And you'll see that a little bit later on in the video. But if you would like to catch me detailing everything out in any of my builds, make sure that you go to www.twitch.tv/thattunerguy. A lot of my builds that I do in Minecraft in detail are caught on stream, and I don't produce a lot of them on YouTube because they do tend to be a very long process. So make sure that you guys go click that link, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, and catch me on Twitch at any given time. But for now, we need to backfill this road right in front of us, and we're just going to use a variation of blocks, kind of like we did with our door, so that way it gives it a nice textured look coming up to the entrance of the city. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so this is it. We have a final product. If you look back at it, you'll see I added a few buttons. We added a wooden garnish right in the middle there just to give it a little bit of texture. And we also added a little bit of gold blocks just to act as the lock and key for the gate. So like I said, if you guys enjoy this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down there on the bottom right of the screen. And hopefully I will catch you guys soon.